Welcome back from the break. If you are just tuning in, you are currently watching Man Talk here on KTN Home. I'm your host, Susan Joroge, and I'm joined today by Anthony, Abel, and Stefan. And we are discussing single parenting. And just before the break, Stefan was talking about the clergy and the church and how the church is a lot more accommodating, is a lot more open, is understanding of society and where we're at and the various situations that all of us are going through. Doesn't make you not a Christian. It just means you're a Christian going through a certain situation, and the church is 100% there to help. Now, Stefan, you also touched on money, which is huge, especially from the male's perspective. There's so much financial pressure. It comes from us women, it comes from men to other men, society to men, and there is becoming a father because you have fathered a child biologically, and then there is now becoming a father because people believe you provide and do everything for this child. Now, young people, obviously, in that situation, getting children, people my age, let me speak for ourselves, we're very scared. You want to have everything before you get the kid. And that's not always how plans go, even if you are married or whether you're a single parent. Talk to those young people, maybe somebody who is pregnant right now or has a young child, a father who, has taken the child from the hospital and is seated there right now with this show on the TV looking at that child wondering, hey, kutaenda aje tutapelekana aje when the finances are not there.
I think where we are losing it, especially our youth, is there's this say that Rome was not built in a day.
True.
The mistake that the youths find themselves in is trying to live other people's lives. The reality is, today, even with a salary of 10,000, and there are many Kenyans earning a salary of 10,000, and they have families.
Yes.
And also, a person who is earning $1 million will still just be in a family. One thing that we should be able to attune ourselves to is to accept responsibility. God is not like man. And for everything that God has created, He has a purpose for it.
Right.
With that very small income, God will still give you a meal.
Yeah.
Everybody, and we say this with some of my friends, people who live in slums, they eat better than even people who live in these big estates, yeah? Because God knows that there is one important thing in a man's life, that is food. And God knows that there is another thing that is very, very important, that is shelter. It doesn't matter the status.
Yes.
So if you really want to be a good youth and you want to grow yourself, is start from the basic, start low, and work extremely hard to get to where you want. There is no wish list that you will say that I want to stay in Rwanda, I want to stay in 3-bedroom house, and then it happens. If it does happen, most likely the next conversation will be, which prison are you?
Right, if it
Right?
happens like
Yes,
this,
yes, yes. But if you allow yourself to grow progressively, and even the partner that you have, let's say, unfortunately, you entered into a relationship with a girl and you have a child, and you started with struggle, God will bless that struggle. Because remember, when we had sinned and we were being thrown out of the Garden of Eden, God said one thing, that we have to toil the land for us to feed ourselves.
Yes.
So if you want to sit back as a youth, you don't do anything, and you expect good things to come your way, they won't come. The only thing that will come will be frustration, you'll be sick, and then eventually you will leave this world.
Yes.
But if you struggle, I can assure you, no matter where you start, step by step, God will guide your ways. God will always provide for you food. In the same way, a man who earns a salary of 10,000 takes his child to Kenyatta Hospital and she's treated at 100 shillings.
Yes.
The same person who earns $1 million will take his to Nairobi Hospital, pay 100,000, and both of them, by God's grace, they walk out of the hospital alive. So let's just advise the youth to understand that perspective.
Yeah.
Life is not a one-off thing. It is a long journey. And that long journey, if you get the basics right, God will bless you and you'll get out of it well.
Actually concur with what he's saying, because I once had this conversation with this topic, I call it pressure ya kuomoka.
I like that.
You know kuomoka.
I have it
you know what kuomoka is?
Even me myself, count on me, I have it.
Like unapata, there is that society pressure,
Right.
social media pressure,
Yes.
your friends pressure,
Yes.
that you want to become successful. Young people don't realize, ama hawajuangi, there is this patience. Patient pays, in fact. Unajua. And as he has just said, Rome wasn't built in one day. So it all takes time. So whatever amount of salary that you're earning, it doesn't matter if it's 5,000, it doesn't matter if it's 2,000, it doesn't matter if it's 10,000. Trust the process. Pressure ya kumoka, don't have, usikuwa na hiyo pressure.
Yeah.
You might be seeing people on social media, maybe your friends, maybe other celebrities posting having the luxurious life that you'd want to have. But let me tell you something. There's one saying that says, you cannot compare somebody else's chapter 20 with your chapter
1. I like that.
You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot.
I was just going to echo on what Reverend said about struggling. I did struggle.
Yeah.
When Ruth was born, up country, I was here. I had just come to college. And then when I heard she was born, I really tried to balance my life between going to school and going to industrial area to hustle.
Yeah.
Odd jobs to make sure that I sent something.
Right.
Because then I was really still in love with the mother. And I didn't want her to suffer a thing. So I would struggle. I would go to industrial area. I would queue in the morning, wait out there very early in the morning. Sometimes I would get the kibarua, sometimes I wouldn't get. But I would move on to another factory. I've been, like, I know all the roads along Enterprise. You know, they start from Addis Ababa all the way to...
All the way up,
All the way up to Z. I've been to all those roads, struggling for this girl when she was young.
Yeah.
I would send 20 bob, I would send 30 bob. Then it was quite something. Yeah. The most I sent was 50 bob. I really...
Nice.
So, yeah, I really struggled. And all I wanted is for her survival, not like put myself to some standard. You know, I never bought her baby rack. I never bought her nothing fancy.
It was to make sure she's eating.
Just
if
food,
she's sick, she can
clothing,
be able to go to hospital.
Medication,
yeah.
Period. And then slowly by slowly, and when I took her up, when I started living with her in Nairobi, it was still a struggle. There were even days I would send her to a neighbor's house. Enda kwa mama koi ukule huko.
Yeah.
Then ukuje.
There's so many single parents that do this up till
Yes.
now, and it needs to be talked about. Even
Yes.
our communities support.
Yes.
There are many single parents who are like, if I didn't have the friends that I had, or if I didn't have the neighbors that I had, I don't know if we would have made it. Sometimes it was someone else taking on the burden just to help you get through the week or that day.
Yeah.
And it's a really huge role that they play.
Yeah.
Then there is the gender. So single moms versus single dads.
Yes.
And for the way that society has been made, because mothers are, you know, more nurturing and the world is aware of that, single moms sometimes have an easier time, or is it a harder time? I want to know from your perspective, because I feel like a single dad may be going to his boss and asking for time off because he's alone. Perhaps maybe your boss doesn't even know how Jai Mwambia. Everyone assumes you're married and you're like, it's made things smooth.
Yes,
Let me just continue like that. If you're a single dad and you have daughters, going to the supermarket and you're buying pads. How does everybody react to that situation? Of course, there's nobody who is buying a pad, a sanitary pad, because they don't need it.
Yeah.
There's a reason you've got to the supermarket and picked that item off the shelf.
Yes.
And a couple of other situations. How would you guys compare it? How society treats single dads and single moms, and what would you advise them to do?
Well, not everyone knows you're a single dad.
Yeah.
Because that will take a lot of people by surprise when they see you doing things that a normal man is not supposed to be doing. And you will not have a platform to explain to every person looking at you with that kind of look, like, excuse me, I'm buying this because you know I'm a single dad.
And you don't have time every
you
day.
don't have time. Sometimes you just do your stuff and go your way. Only few people that know your kind of life, know your situation, are the ones who would know why you're doing what you do at the end of the day. Like you asked about a mother, I think initially, maybe Pastor will correct me on that. I think God intended for the child to be with the mother for longer than the father. Because the father is supposed to be out there looking.
Right.
The father is supposed to be out there providing, hustling to provide for the family. But the mother, in fact, even if you look at all other animals, apart from human beings, you will see that mostly the kids are with the mother. Even a lion, the cubs are always with the mother. Even a chicken, the chicks are always with the mother.
True.
No, the father just comes, takes a worm, gives here and there. So to the human beings, I think kids are more safer with the mother than the father.
It's actually very sad sometimes when you see men carrying the babies that are crying, whether it's in church or it's in the supermarket, and somebody's like, no, yo mtoto ajui babake. And you're like, it's not always the case.
But there's this saying in the society that says, mtoto ni wa mama.
Right.
Yeah, mtoto anakuanga wa mama. There's this thing that the society has taken that if they see a dad doing things that maybe vinyamisema, like let's say
you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. So unapata like now wanasema now the mother should be doing all that. Now the father should now be working and kutafuta the pesa na kila kitu.
Hata kisheria, when two parents are fighting over a child's custody, you'll find that mostly it's the mother who gets custody more than the father. Yeah, unless otherwise, but usually custody will be given to the mother. Yeah.
I also think, just to echo what Anthony has said, the societal expectation is also a real factor that puts sometimes more burden on the single father than on a single mother. Like for today in my culture, you see, if you are a lady and you've lost your husband, people will be okay with you staying and taking care of the family alone, right? Of course, yes, leave alone those wife inheritance conversations of the past here.
Right.
People will be okay.
Yeah. People will even
if you are a man, people will be asking you question, what's happening? Tafuta mtu alee watoto. Yeah, you see that conversation, as if you are not mtu.
Yeah,
you get
yourself,
it.
You're not mtu. You're supposed to look for mtu.
Yeah, so look for mtu to lea the children.
Yeah.
So that societal expectation is also a pressure in itself. But also one thing that we must also appreciate, God had a very clear design when he was starting and when he was creating man. Each and every person had a responsibility. Remember, the conversation that man should toil the land to bring food was a conversation for the man.
Right.
A conversation about bearing a child was a conversation to the woman. So the woman was to give birth and take care of the child. The man was to toil and bring food for the family. And that has been a tagline for a long time, which we really appreciate. But things have changed. Today, both men and women toil.
Yes.
And actually, when we have about issues to do with gender equality, gender affirmative, and whatever workplace, every day I am in HR, I keep on giving trends.
Yes.
How many men and women in the organization?
You have video.
And if the balance go down, people start looking at you like, HR, what is wrong with you?
Right.
You're discriminating against women. So you see, all this conversation, unless we find ourselves or we put ourselves in the right place, the pressure will always be falling on one side.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to be a single father. For some of us, the way society had brought us up, you learn how to cook when you become a single father.
Right.
Yeah?
Because you weren't meant to be cooking.
You
so
are
you
not
never
meant
even
to.
had the chance when you were a boy.
Yes. So you end up in a area where it's not a familiar territory. It's very easy for a woman to take care of the children, to wash, and even to work. But it's so difficult for a man
to do
to go do this and do. It's just the way nature, God that created us.
Yeah, able, because I mean, with your daughter, if she's at school, you're at work, when you come home, cooking, cleaning, especially when she's small and she's not able to help and do her part, it's on you. Laundry is on things that people would never even think
I did all that
about.
Yes.
You know, even parent teachers, there's some teachers, maybe even in schools, actually we should challenge schools. There's some schools that might make single dads' lives very difficult because they're expecting it's the mom. It's moms who usually drop. They're the ones who come for these meetings, they're the ones who come for sports day, but in your life and in your role, it was you playing the role the entire time. Now let's talk about the ones that are never spoken about, which is there's deadbeat dads, but then there's deadbeat moms these days. And nobody really wants to have that conversation. Have you had any?
Yeah, I've had a lot of issues of deadbeat mothers.
Right.
Yeah, and deadbeat mothers, maybe if I can emphasize.
Yes, explain.
So deadbeat mothers, an example, let's say for example, it's a mother. Ame give birth mtoto wake. And akona mama kule ushago. So the child amempelekea akiwa mdogo. Now the mother ameshampelekea to the rural areas, akarudi tao.
Yes.
So now the mother will never send money, will never do anything.
And never return either.
Hata why. Now the mother, now sasa the grand parent to the child,
Yes.
now becomes like the mother to the child. So unapata kama now this mother mwenye amerudi to the urban center akienda kuvisit huko the children will see the mother as a stranger.
Yeah, they will. You're not usually with them.
So
you
like,
don't talk to them.
It's actually a conversation that most people don't expect kuna deadbeat mothers, because wanafikirianga it's all about deadbeat fathers who run away or abandon mtoto, but they're actually deadbeat mothers.
You know,
if you go to the village,
yes,
you'll see these children that she's your daughter,
yes,
but she calls your mother mom,
yes,
and she calls you by name. Those are the conversations.
You know, some of them actually grow up to never know that this other one is actually the one that gave birth to you. Yes. Although you were raised by somebody else, so you can actually see that as your mom.
But you know, there's a problem. There's a problem as to why I think as to why these mothers now do that kind of thing. Huh?
Right.
Because let's say, for example, now it's a young mother, and I may give birth na kapeleka mtoto, and baba mtoto alikataa, alimwabando.
So peke yake.
Hakuna finances.
Okay.
Akapelekea mamake huko ushago. So like huyo mama ana try so hard, ama anajaribu kufind ama kutry kukua in a relationship. So unajua what they say, what this mother say, mwanaume ukimwambia the time una get to bond na this guy.
Yeah, when you're dating, the early
when you're
stages.
dating, now huyo baba ama huyo mwanaume ukimwambia that uko na mtoto anaenda.
Yes.
So now I think that's the problem now these mothers have, because wanafikiria so wakiacha mtoto huko anakuja huku kutafuta now the boyfriend ama a partner to be with, without realizing ameacha mtoto huko na inamuuma mtoto huko emotionally, hata maybe haelewi, lakini the moment atakuja kuelewa akigrow old,
it will be very
it will affect the kid.
Yeah.
I have a friend who was courting with this gentleman, and then there reached a time that they had to go for an introduction to this lady's home. And so this guy gathers his friends, and they all end up there. And then the mother-in-law comes and meets him and says, hey, my son, you're welcome. Nice to meet you. This is your home. This is where she comes from, your wife. And by the way, there are some people I want you to meet. So some beautiful girls come up, big girls. Then she says, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. These are all your fiancés' daughters. Then you faint like this.
Yeah. You're being carried by your friends now. They're trying to figure out what's going to happen.
You're trying to smile, but the smile is not coming
out.
It
can also happen to men.
So you should be happy. You at least have gotten grown-ups now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there also needs to be a psychology now with younger people. I actually was having this conversation with my mom about how, so I'm 26. I'm turning 27 slightly later on this year.
Wow.
And anyone around my age, a little bit older or even a little bit younger, in the dating world now, when you're entering, if you have a parent who will at least tell you, prepare to be out there and date somebody and find out that they have a child. Like mentally, just be in that zone, because that's the society that we're in now. And a lot of people, you know, you'll have a mishap when you're younger, and a lot of people will have kids. But there is what you're talking about, which is what men usually talk about. You're actually being tricked. Women, we don't want to have that conversation, but it's true. If I have a whole other life, a whole other child that I'm responsible for, and I'm dating you, I'm showing you I want you to be a part of my life, now you're even like, oh, she's my girlfriend, you want me to meet your mother. I am tricking you, because I am expecting that if you do marry me, you will marry me with my others. Others.
Yeah.
It's me and others. So it is actually, in fact, a trick, and it would be, you know, early to say. Now, for ladies, obviously, you might not want to say on the first date, but definitely that's information, and you guys can say as men, you should share as soon as possible.
Susan, the truth is, if you are in a relationship for something longer, it is very, very important that you put that card in front.
Yes.
Yeah, because many people will not be able to reconcile with that.
That's true.
Men will not really reconcile with, because the second question I ask myself, what is it else that I don't know about you?
That's not the problem.
You get it? That's the conversation. But if you put one thing that I'll tell young ladies, whether you have a child or not, the best part to get hold of a man is when he's crazy down over you. Tell him everything.
Tell him everything.
If he goes away, that was not yours. God did not design it for you.
It is well. Go to the
And if it is yours, I can tell you, he will be shocked. But tomorrow he'll come back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I like that.
That's
now,
the best thing that you can do.
I want
for
us to
yourself.
wrap up, and before we do, Stefan, can you tell us about your book? Which I think is very cool because you let us know that you've donated this to the church. So all proceeds are going back to the church.
Yes.
All right. So what is the book? Where were you when you were writing it? What were you going through?
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, Corona did us a lot of things.
Oh, and that's when you wrote
Yeah,
it?
I mentioned that besides my service in the church, I also work as a head of employee relations in National Bank. And Corona made me realize how much time I was really wasting on traffic. During those times we were working from home.
Yes.
Because you see, after work, then what next? There is nowhere to go.
Yeah.
There is no church to go and serve.
Yeah.
So slowly by slowly we started. I just started writing. Then I invited my co-author here, Reverend George, at some stage, and then this was the product.
Okay.
Yes.
So
And what we say, the book is an inductive study of the book of Genesis. It's applying Genesis, the scripture in Genesis, in our day-to-day life. It's a reflection, a conversation with yourself and how this applies to you today. So I decided that I give 100% of the proceeds on this book to the church.
Nice.
We have a church project that we are doing, and I also do kind of missionary, not just stationed in my church. So we do work across the diocese in Machakos. We promote the word of God. So this book, it goes for 1,000 shillings, and the entire proceeds. It is published by Bible Translation and Literacy, and all the proceeds goes to the ministry of the Word of God.
So if somebody would like to purchase it, how can they do that?
Yeah, if you like to purchase it? By the way, this book was just launched this month.
Oh, nice.
On 6th of this month. So it will be in the bookshelves. But in the meantime, if you want it, then I'll be sharing the contacts, which you'll be able to share with all our viewers. Then they can just get in touch with us.
Yeah.
My number is 0722 540 381. 0722 540 381. Then you get a copy. And on that, once you get a contact with us, there is somebody who is running for me this particular project also in the church. They'll be able to contact you and tell you how you can get the book.
Fantastic.
Supporting the ministry work.
Yes.
And actually, we are also trying, some of the things that we are really trying to do is to be able to see how I can also use the youth in our church to be able to sell, and they get something out of it.
Awesome.
Out of the scene.
Amazing.
So me, I'm not going to get anything, but we are working on that
the
conversation. Those youths who are not working and can do something, they can still sell and get
sell the
something
book.
for themselves.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks.
Abel, could you share your social media handles so people can know where to find you as well?
Well, Facebook is Igwe Abel Amunga, Igwe with double E, and Instagram is Abel Amunga at Abel Amunga. Abel Amunga, just that.
Nice.
All
and
platforms.
Anthony?
My social media handle is at official Anthony Njenga. And as they can see this t-shirt, they will be seeing more of this initiative. It's Encourage to Inspire. Yeah, so like this is an initiative that I want to start to reach out to the schools, the universities and high schools to talk about issues. But now for this month, I'll be dealing with alcohol and drug abuse and masturbation.
Okay.
Yes, that's a major issue. So they can reach me out on Instagram at official Anthony Njenga, and yeah, we're there to communicate.
Wow. Thank you so much to all of you gentlemen. I've learned a lot. I'm not a parent yet, but I think I've picked up some tips and tricks. I hope you guys have enjoyed the conversation. Continue with us online. Use the hashtag ManTalk and the hashtag KTN Life and Style so we can be able to see all your communication and you can reach out to them as well directly. Bye.